MixLife 51, I am the chemist, and I am joined by Christopher Copel and Concrete River. Welcome, everybody, to the show. Hope you guys are having a good mixing week.
Oh, my goodness, my goodness. There we go. All right. I couldn't find my chat pop-out thing. Just being a punk.
Hey.
Hey, everybody.
Ooh, what's going on?
Well, I'm vaping 5% Flavore Yakima hops and 5% Hanks Blueberry in a pod system, and my life is better for it. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Did you say 5% hops?
Yep, 5% hops.
You're a brutal savage.
Oh, it's like vaping a dirty carpet in the best way possible. I love it.
It's like licking a motel carpet floor of a room.
That's awesome. I just got some of those penguins in. Got a couple of them. They were on sale for like $9 each, so I picked up a couple. So I'm gonna start mixing some 50-50 weirdness for them.
So that's like the OG penguin AO, right?
Yeah, exactly. I got 2 of those.
So the coils on there, the first batch of coils I got for it were pretty good. And the second batch, I've been having some issues with dry hits. I got the 0.5 ohm coil, so I had to actually go through with a fucking sewing needle and like tear up the cotton a little bit in the top of the coil. So just watch out for dry hits with that thing if you have the 0.5 ohm coils.
Yeah, I think it's the 0.5 ohm. I can't remember. I haven't even opened the boxes yet.
What PGVG mix do you do for the
for those? I'll probably do 50-50.
Yeah,
I think I was using like 60-40. It's the same stuff that I usually drip. It seemed about the right ballpark. But yeah, for some reason, the quality control on the coils apparently went south or something. They ended up stuffing more cotton in there because they were leaking. So you kind of got to like tear it up a little bit.
Good to know. Good to know. They were really cheap, so I'm not sad if they suck.
Well, and the actual packaging, like, don't get me wrong, like the actual packaging, like it's a phenomenal little unit when I've got the wicking right. Like it's absolutely great.
Yeah. But they seem like cool little devices. I haven't had a chance to fuck with them yet, but I'll probably mess with them a little bit more later tonight.
So YouTube has added 2 different things. I don't know when they added them, but it's like archiving the chat now and then replaying the chat when you watch again.
Yeah, I saw that. It's pretty crazy. It's kind of cool because like when people see us answering questions live, they can like see the questions like or whatever as it passes by, and it saves me the trouble of having to like if we were to ever switch to OBS and have to like run like multiple captures, because I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to do that either. That's the thing. It's like it's a battle of fancy is going to take a ton of extra steps and work and failure points where it's like keeping it simple.
I'm chill with the way like we've been doing it this way for a year, and it's been pretty successful. So I'm chill with keeping it that way.
Next
Can you guys
week,
hear everybody all right?
Next week will be our 2-year or our 1-year anniversary.
Oh my goodness!
Right? 52.
So is that the paper anniversary? Are we just going to get each other reams of paper?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm actually just gonna pour a ring of pink guava onto my desk right here for you and take a picture of it and send it to you.
Well, no, I mean, you got to pour a line of pink guava on your desk and then snort it for me. That's the gift I want.
Whoa.
So.
That's
just rail some pink guava.
That makes my nostrils hurt just thinking about it, man.
Gonna feel those top notes.
I wouldn't be able to vape for a week after that. Oh, yeah, man.
I did that once. I was in Carline picking the kids up from summer camp, and I just got new flavors. And I opened the TFA lychee, and I went to smell it and just shot like a mill up my nose.
Oh, man. I felt bad enough when I spilled FA condensed milk on my desk one time. And it was only like 4 drops, but it stank up my whole room for like a week.
It like messed me up. Like for 5 minutes, I was gone. Like just like trying to,
just tripping, man. Just
yeah. I've never used the flavor.
That's good stuff. Yeah, I never used condensed milk again after that. I wanted to make like a flan recipe, and it was pretty much the only way to pull off like that weird condensed milk thing going on with it, but like ever since then I've never touched it.
So, His Bearded Holiness, I feel like we are honored to have you on camera, and I wanted to ask you about the new Flavora flavors. Have you dug into those? Because I just started seriously digging into them this week.
To be honest, I haven't. I feel bad because I'm super pumped for them, but like, I've been kind of stuck in like development hell, and I haven't had any time to do any fun mixing or like testing of anything like new for like 2 weeks. And I've just barely had them like a little over a week or something, but I haven't any time to touch them yet.
Well, I don't want to spoiler alert it, but the teas are actually pretty competent overall. It's definitely not a bad showing. So of all of the weirdos I know, you are probably the most likely to use teas. So I'm assuming you'll have strong opinions at some point.
Yeah, I will soon. I hope to. I think I'm actually done with all that stuff. So hopefully, like, I might get some time tonight to like casually mess around with new stuff instead of just working.
They're strange.
Well, I'm all right with that. That's like my thing.
Yeah.
I also figured out a solution to the weird bottle top cracking dilemma. I just threw like my polycone caps on here that I have for my 15 milliliters. They thread on just fine. So
yeah, I was actually looking at that. I don't think any of mine are broken, but I also haven't opened them all. So
it's when you open them. So like you go to like, because it has like a safety seal.
Yeah.
And you'll naturally like lean them to try to crack the seal on it.
Okay, so that's where the problem's coming.
And that's where I think they crack because they're real gentle. So like as you're twisting it, it'll snap them. Because I
like the glass though. Like I'm a fan of the glass.
I just don't like the top part. I like the glass bottles. They're cool. I think that's cool.
I mean, because the old Flavora caps like were like 90% fine, and it was just like that 10% of them that were like
stuck in a forever
stuck inside the lid or whatever.
And then you pop it, and it's just got the inside cap piece stuck.
Yeah, but only a handful of those. So I never really had that many problems with their original bottles. Yeah, I'm still pumped to see like nicer bottles. It seems like an interesting solution, like with like the pipette action on the tip or whatever, which seems kind of all right.
I mean, they work. I mean, when I mix something up with it, and the concept works.
The cracking thing is the only issue. I keep meaning to email Bryson back about them, but I haven't had a chance. I've been ridiculously busy, so.
Yeah, I just gave up and put like my normal 15 milliliter caps on them, and it was working out just fine. So
yeah, and that seems fine because I mean it's not like I have a shortage of pipettes or anything, and I have an auto pipette somewhere too.
And then like glass bottles, I mean, for like the more expensive, like trickier flavors that you're not going to use a ton of, like if I had rich cinnamon in a glass bottle instead of slowly dying here in a plastic bottle, that would have been awesome. So I'm all for the glass bottles.
What do you like concrete of those? What have you found?
Real quick, we got a question from the chat for Rick. If you like Cap Vanilla Custard version 1 over Inaware Custard.
It was technically for all of MixLife. Go for it, man.
Well, it's all right. They're really different, but
yeah, I think they're fairly different. I don't think they really substitute directly. For me, Capella's Vanilla Custard V1 tastes like hot, sweet, thick chalk. And I know that I'm like the minority opinion on that. But it almost feels like an amped up version of something like TPA's Vanilla Swirl, where it has that kind of like maltol-ish flatness, and I don't get much dairy out of it. Whereas Custard, I definitely get a clearer dairy. And then the side, and like cool bonus, Inaware Custard basically only needs a couple days to steep up to be like something nice and thick and rich, whereas Cap V1 Custard you're supposed to forget about for like a month.
Yeah, I'd say I agree. I really like Inaware's Custard like 100 times better, almost in every case. But I don't think they taste the same at all. I think Inaware's is much nicer overall. Capella's does the job, but I mean, it needs to sit for a long time to get there. Inaware's does it in much less time.
I like Capella lower, like as a combination flavor.
in some cases it's appropriate. Yeah, it really depends on the recipe. I only use it higher when I know it's going to be like combined with things that are going to cut against it, right? Like thinner, like bourbon or oak and stuff like that are going to like cut the thickness a little bit. So then you crank it up to avoid losing any body. I had to leave the show to hear what?
He had to leave the other show to hear what His Bearded Holiness had to say. So I think that
is
was
there
a
another
compliment.
show? Are we sharing a time slot now?
We don't share anything. We dominate things. So
well, that's true. That's true. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So out of this Favora stuff, like really, honestly, the teas are all pretty solid. The red tea is maybe a little bit bitter for like an actual rubus, however you say that word. But it has, rhombus tea. It has a little bit of extra bitterness that I'm not really expecting. It's not bad or anything, but it just doesn't really. That bitterness kind of takes it a little bit away from red tea, but like the main part of it's very good. Their black tea is interesting. I think it tastes like black tea with jasmine, especially when you start cranking it up a little bit, which is a little weird. But there's nothing like funky or offensive or like dirty to it. It's a very like good tea flavor. Their green teas.
It smells dirty. The black tea. It smells dirty, but
I mean, I was reading some of the second opinions on it on ELR and stuff, and everybody's like, "This is a robust black tea flavor." So maybe I'm just broken. I mean, that could be something, but it's a lot more mellow to me than Flavor Arts black tea, and it doesn't taste like a handful of fucking dirt like TPA's black tea. So even with that weird jasmine thing, I was kind of digging it. The green teas, the first green tea, just the green tea, is definitely like more of an herbal take. It kind of tastes grassy to me, maybe a little bit minty. It's maybe a little too fresh. It's not bad flavor, but I get like some freshly cut grass from it. I think the acai tea, I think they were going for more of a matcha style green tea. And for me, I think that's the one that I'd pick up for green teas, just because like it has more of a solid green tea kind of vibe that you could actually play off other things in recipes. But so far, I like the teas. I haven't tried the Kanako or the avocado yet, which I need to get on. But
I did try the avocado. In a sort of similar way to Vape Train's avocado cream, like neither of them really come across as like a literal avocado. Like I don't get like a real strong like actual avocado flavor, but it is like a really interesting like kind of really creamy mushy fruit thing going on. It's really not offensive and it's kind of cool. And I think you could use it to do a lot of like neat things with like banana flavors that are missing that kind of meat of the banana vibe to it. Because that's really what I get out of it, right? Like kind of a mushed up, vaguely banana-ish kind of flavor.
I get like a weird hint of pistachio with the avocado. Like
I could see that, yeah.
Something reminded me of the pistachio.
But either way, like it's a really good flavor. I mean, I guess I didn't really want to vape like an actual like barely ripened or partially ripened avocado. Anyways, that's not really my jam. I do like avocados, but I don't know about vaping them. But yeah, so I don't get literal avocado, but it's pretty good. I really like it. I think it has some interesting uses. I think it can be really cool for like bolstering ice creams to give them more depth in place of like Vienna cream, and you don't have the downside of waiting for the nail polish to wear off.
So is it more, have you tried the Flavor Express avocado? Because that one has kind of like a dulce de leche thing going on with just a little bit of green strangeness. Like how green is that avocado in general?
I haven't tried the Flavor Express one, so I don't have the comparison there, but it's not very green. There's a hint of it, I guess, but and I think that might be where like maybe Adam's picking up a bit of that kind of pistachio vibe. but it's also kind of nutty. So like, yeah. I don't know. But yeah, definitely not a main flavor, but it's like it's still a useful flavor. Very useful. There's Jarvis in the chat. What we got here? What's the difference between maltol and ethyl maltol? Maltol is just weaker. Ethyl maltol is stronger. That's pretty much it. And yes, ethyl maltol definitely affects other flavors, not just it affects all flavors. It's to some degree. It can kind of like mute your lighter top notes, right? The lower density top notes like citruses and fruits and stuff like that. So if you can use it to kind of like dumb it down if you want to like crank up the flavor, but then like mute some of the top notes down so that it's more manageable. I don't really use ethyl maltol for anything but citrus recipes, and even then it's pretty reserved.
It destroys watermelon.
Anything that's like that, those really light volatiles, right? Like watermelon, citrus flavors, some of the lighter strawberries, like strawberry ripe, which is already like ethyl maltol heavy as fuck.
And you'll notice that like it won't be on your mix; it'll be like a week away out.
Yeah, it will be fresh. You won't notice the difference fresh. It's like after a steep, it'll definitely change the way things taste. I don't use it very often. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it.
Yeah, you got to watch out for that in flavors too. Like I specifically use a good deal of vanilla swirl just because I like to crank my flavors up to stupid percentages and then use like maltol or ethyl maltol to kind of like back down the top notes to make them a little bit less sharp to get like a more fully saturated base, but still like have something that's vapable. But yeah, just watch out for your maltol and your ethyl maltol in mixes because it can easily just mute the hell out of everything.
Yeah, definitely. I think vanilla swirl is a better application of maltol in almost every instant anyways, because there aren't very many recipes that don't benefit from a little bit of added vanilla flavoring, and it's better than just adding the straight maltol by itself.
Vanilla swirl and all of the things. It's
vanilla. Vanilla is in like 90% of like processed foods, right? It's in so much that you wouldn't ever believe it. There's so much vanilla in like every fucking cracker, cookie, chip, and fucking candy in the aisle, right? Like it's everywhere. And in sodas too. It's in almost every single soda.
And even isn't chocolate ice cream even vanilla based or something like that?
Yeah, it's just a vanilla base with like the chocolate added.
Yeah.
And cream, I don't know why Dave is yelling cream. I don't know if he's just continuing his bit.
He spammed it like 100 times, and I think like he just needs to get like a case of carnation and pour it in the fucking bathtub and I don't know, drown in it or whatever.
Is this a bit? It's probably a bit.
Yeah, I think it's a bit. Yeah.
It's the Wu-Tang member of the clan today.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Flavor Express probably hits closer to the actual avocado-ish kind of thing, but at least that's what I've read, and that's what young Leilani here is saying in chat. But
yeah, it's just strange.
It's still interesting, and I like it. It goes really well with like sweet rice to help it stick around longer. I've been kind of messing around with some ways to make the Flavor Express sweet rice like not steep into mush in 3 days. Oh, Wayne got high, and FLV cream wasn't #1. I don't think it is #1. It's good.
Well, I think the issue with Flavoric cream is it's not a fantastic cream flavor. It's just a really nice emulsifier for everything else you want to throw at it.
Yeah, definitely. It's easy to use. Like it's kind of a no-brainer. Like it's hard to fuck anything up with it, right? Like it's guaranteed to be pretty good.
Like I don't think I can't come up with a single recipe off the top of my head besides maybe something that's deliberately supposed to be crazy dry that 1% of Flavoric cream wouldn't taste good in.
No, it's all right. Now he's going Big Guava. I don't know what he's going on about Big Guava. Is this just Wayne's list of top 10s that Dave doesn't agree with and he's still freaking out about?
Yeah, it's the same bit. We're doing bits now. I agree on the pink guava and the cream, but
did they not make the list at all or what?
I think Cream and Pink Guava made honorable mention, or Cream made honorable mention, and he was like, well, Pink Guava's okay. No, Pink Guava isn't okay. Pink Guava is fucking life, okay? Right. That's what it is.
Well, I have to agree. The Pink Guava is like easily in my top 5 flavorings of all time. And the amount of time I spend just vaping it by itself with nothing else is pretty disproportionate to any other like solo quick mixes I might make on the go. Well, there's a reason why Flavor Pink Guava is always sold out, Mr.
What
Cincinnati.
percentage?
Because I buy it all the time.
What do you mix it at?
By itself, like 3%.
Yeah.
Sweetener? No sweetener?
Usually no. Maybe a couple of percent of like wild melon or watermelon or something like that to kind of like cut some of the top end out a little bit and add some syrupiness to the bottom, but no, not usually. Botboy, Reddit fame, once suggested that it's really excellent at 5% with 3% TPA sweetener and nothing else, and that's his favorite. 5% is a little high for me because that rindy grapefruit gets a little aggressive, but it is not bad at 5% either.
So is anybody up on the Inawera biscuit drama in general? Because I think I hardly ever use biscuit.
I don't ever use it anymore, dude.
Yeah, I hardly ever use anything from Inawera anymore just because I'm so sick of their damn flavors changing. You can't really rely on them for anything at this point.
Right. And I don't think that biscuit doesn't do anything that I can't do with 10 other flavors, right? Like I have other options besides biscuit. Biscuit's nice, but Inawera is more difficult to source, and it's just not consistent, right? Like the lime changed too. Inawera lime was like my favorite lime on the whole planet. And the new one is not bad, but it's not the same, right? So you can't rely on that, especially if you do like commercial work, right? Like relying on Inawera for that kind of stuff is difficult because of that, because of the changes, the unannounced changes. If I know it's changing in advance, right? Like that's one thing. But a lot of I'm hearing a lot of reports about people just saying that it's outright just showing up different, and there's no warning, right? No public announcement. So that's my only beef with it, really. But I mean, they're like a small Polish company that I don't think they ever expected to be used as widely in DIY as they are now. So who knows? Yeah, I don't use biscuit hardly ever. I don't think Pink Guava is that floral. Do you think it's floral?
I think it's floral. I think it has something floral, but it's not like berry floral where it's like old woman's perfume. It's like more of like a tropical kind of musk.
See, I get more musk. I guess I could see how that's viewed as a floral. I mean, musk is technically a floral flavor. It's just not one that you always associate.
I kind of dig it for that, but I mean, I'm vaping 5% Yakima hops. Like I like my shit musky as fuck. But again, that's another thing where like if Botboy's using 5% with 3% TPA sweetener, that's another thing that like maltol or ethyl maltol can kind of help tame a little bit. It's knocking off some of those higher floral notes. And so like I found that if you add a couple percentage of like Cap's Golden Pineapple to it at like 3%, you don't really taste the pineapple, but it does like kind of temper down those musky notes. Basically, any of the Capella fruits are going to be half maltol by weight, so you can use Capella to knock off floral edges and things.
I agree, sir. I agree.
So what's going on with Reddit?
Well, so Reddit announced that they're not supporting the sale or advertisement for sale of any alcohol, drugs, tobacco, firearms, whatever, which is kind of left the like future of vaping subreddits up in the air while we wait to see like where the admins come down on what constitute advertising for sale. So I think generally speaking, I don't know if it'll make that big of an impact on like the DIY subreddits, as long as we like back off the nicotine talk. But I mean, technically, according to the FDA, right, 0 milligram juice is still technically a tobacco product, right?
Right.
So I don't know. Everything's kind of, nobody's really sure. So,
and I think if they get wind of the fucking high school jewel pod Reddits and stuff like that, they're gonna.
Yeah, I think those are going to be the first on the chopping block. And I mean, it's a relatively small sub, anyways, in comparison to like what things are going on here. I'll pull up the discussion thread here.
I just want to state for the record, I'm getting really fucking sick and tired of being on platforms that actively hate me. Just throwing that out there. As somebody who posts shit to YouTube, not nearly enough, but occasionally, and then somebody who posts a lot of shit on Reddit, like, it's just not a particularly welcoming environment anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I tried to do AdWords ads one time for e-juice makers, and they like flagged my whole corporate account with all my other clients and stuff on it. And I was like, nope. So just the mention of vaping with Google almost got my ad account shut down. Like I have a client manager account, and then you have brands of AdWords people's accounts underneath, and then we're going to suspend this top one just because anything had created a vaping thing. So Google not a fan. Facebook won't let you run a thing. Like they automatically will flag your ads. So it's the whole it's tobacco thing that just like puts us.
Yeah. So it seems like the direction of the DIY subreddits are going to be that they just kind of nuke the nicotine factor, right? Like just remove it entirely. Don't talk about it, right? Like that's just like a separate thing, and then it'll likely survive. I don't think ECR will do well because that puts an end to like half of their population is only there for team free shit giveaways, anyways, right?
Right, and from a marketing perspective, like if you're a business, Reddit becomes like a no-go. And even like the weekly sales, like the holiday sales posts, like those would be flaggable. And then you could even argue like a Rick's flavor review that's like, I like this flavor, that it could be tied into, that's an endorsement to purchase the flavor.
Right.
So there's a lot of ways, depending on how they looked at it, but is there no way to back up? Are they backing it up, I think, or trying?
I think there's some kind of effort in.
Yeah, I think there's some machinations going on to back everything up, including the DIY flavor wiki, which, contrary to popular belief, involves a lot of work from other people, and it's a really good resource in general. So I know they're working on backing that up. I also got a comment from the chat saying Chris Drake hasn't seen an explicit statement that I'm okay with my flavor reviews getting copied across to ATF. If I publish anything on a public platform, I'm completely okay with it ending up wherever that I've kind of. I mean, granted, I like credit. Credit's good. Like, feed me all of your attention and credit and all that. But if I'm putting anything out on Reddit, it's basically fair game to show up wherever. And I've talked specifically about it to a couple people. People are usually pretty good about asking for permission about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty much the intelligible response of most flavors in ELR too. So if you go into ELR and you're looking at flavor notes, it'll be a bunch of like gibberish, and then there'll be like a well-written flavor note, and it won't credit you, but you're like, oh, that's Concrete River. You can just tell. So like you'll be a lot of places there too.
Yeah, and I mean, if they end up being helpful to people like that, that's really cool. And yeah, anything on a public platform, I've always sort of taken the idea that it's just, I mean, there's no point in trying to control stuff on a public platform. If I was behind some sort of wall, like, then I'd be a little bit pissier about it, but I've been putting them out there specifically, for general public consumption. So, like I said, all of the credit, that's fantastic, but...
I see it the same way we see recipes, when I put out recipes for the public, like I always see a lot of talk about, oh, so-and-so stealing your recipes or whatever. And I'm like, well, it's not theft if you just leave it out there for anybody to pick up, right? Like, I mean, it's shitty sometimes people steal the credit for whatever, but like, I mean, generally speaking, the community kind of polices itself anyways when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, I mean, if we put something out there publicly, like, you guys can use it for whatever the fuck, I don't care.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a difference between capital T theft and like somebody ripped your shit off. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like we're all okay, I think, and we've all kind of come to terms with the fact that eventually somebody's going to rip your shit off if it's any good, and that kind of comes with the game. But it's a completely different thing than capital T theft, like somebody trying to capitalize on your work and making money off your work.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I don't care about the other stuff. Like,
I'm more bugged by the guy with like ELR profile that says _chemist than I am by like a copy of my recipe, because then people are like, hey, you wrote this comment, what do you think of this flavor? I'm like, that's not even me. Like, that's someone that's blatantly copied me.
Cincinnati King guys, some guy on Reddit was selling everyone's recipes on ELR. Yeah, that's not a new thing. Like, people have been doing that since like dawn of ELR, like, or since recipes were ever even released publicly. Like, that happens, right? I'm sure that there's plenty of people out there somewhere who pulled some of my recipes off of ELR and have some shitty fucking juice line in Hungary or something, right? And they sell my shit, and I don't who knows, man? And I don't know, and I don't have any way of knowing. And even if I did have a way of knowing, there's no recourse because it's a public recipe, right? There's no legal recourse. You can't copyright that shit, right? It's out there. It's out there. People use it to make money. Fine. If it feeds their kids, like, cool, whatever.
I mean, but you can call them dick whistles.
Yeah, well, I can make fun of them, sure, but there's fuck all else I can do. And I don't really feel like lowering myself to like go jumping down everyone's throat that uses my stuff like is productive for either my image or for anything else.
Well, as somebody
I would do that though. I like Ken Aware's approach. He's saying that if this dude is trying to sell you my recipe, I'll give you a bottle for free, and you can say fuck that guy. So there you go. If someone offers to sell you one of my recipes, I'll just give you a bottle for free. How about that?
And he'll include at least 3 authentic beard hairs with it. So you
I'll pluck one out just for you, and I'll drop it right inside the bottle.
Yeah, in the bottle, so you can't get the cap off.
Yeah, so you can't get away for it. It'll taint all of your juice.
You have to pain vape it.
Oh man!
All right, so we made a small forum on e-juice makers. It is not trying to be ELR forum. It's not trying to be Reddit. It's not trying to be all the flavors forum, whatever. It's merely a place for us to conduct our business, and then people that want to be there can be there. Dave's Mixer Club, he's kind of in direct violation, I think, with a lot of the new rules, so he wanted to move it proactively. So that'll be going on there. I spent the weekend, setting up a forum. Down the road, we might build it out, but like it's just bare bones. But it's got a spot for recipes, people want to post flavor notes, just simple stuff. But it's really not trying to be like the hangout. Like there's enough other places to hang out and be an asshole or do whatever. So it's really supposed to be more of just like an informative section. And then I got Mix TV up and running again. I'll just show you guys because it's easier to show you. You guys see that?
Yeah.
All right. So here's the new website look. Links to our products. And then this is Mix TV. So it basically filters out all the other stuff YouTube shows and then shows just DIY stuff. I got to add the Mix and Vixens to it. But it's got, DIY, MixLife. It had like Steam Room, New Amsterdam vapes. So just basically like almost like a smart playlist, but it works really well on the phone. So if you don't want to like look for Wayne's stuff or look for our stuff, it's all right here. And then you can search and do like a few different searches, and then it'll dial it down. So if you're looking for something in particular, it's just kind of because YouTube is sort of crazy to find things nowadays. And this is new. It's called Mix FAQ. And this is, as we build this out, it should be really useful in that it's just like a frequently asked questions, but you know, DIY mixing doesn't really have a good resource for this. So that's the concept, is that it'll just be like a immense of questions and answers. Because if you're in any of these Facebook groups, it's like every day it's the same 100 questions over and over. So this is going to be like the e-juice maker's response. And the search on that's really cool too. So, you know, if you're looking for something, once this builds out, if we had like 100 answers, something like that, it'd be really useful. And Mix 101 is if you're like a new mixer, a lot of people will like throw you to New Amsterdam vapes or like questions, but this kind of like takes you through all the resources, sort of educates you on the different flavor shops, the different brands, nicotine options, calculators, groups, and then it gets deeper into like, you know, flavor notes, and then like deep DIY. Once you start to learn stuff, there's a lot more you can go. Flavor notes kind of relying on the Reddit flavor notes page, but if that was to die, that would be fun. So if that can be replicated or backed up, that'll be good. But we just keep a link there so people can see it. And then people were talking trash about the Flavor Wiki. I was reading this forum post where they're like, I just like to support it because it's something. I like to support new projects and good ideas, even if, you know, they're not all the way there yet. And then I'm still working on the recipes section. Right now, it's just set up as links to the team's profiles. It's a little old, so I have to update that and kind of figure out a better way to do that. But that's all the mixed teams links, so you can see our recipes and things like that. So here you have forums, and let's see if that'll work. It's just simple. It's really just a place so that Dave can conduct his Mixers Club, and then if we can do announcements and things. But if you guys want to join and play around with it, it's still definitely beta. But you can just go to forums and register, and just filling that out, that'll get you going. And then I'm working on this thing. No. I'm working on this thing that's set up with this. It cost me a little money to set it up, so I haven't done the full setup, but it lets you create kind of like a customized profile. I think may have some use. And this is just like a dummy one I made. But it lets us customize so it's almost like a LinkedIn type page. And then so you can do your ELR profile, all the flavors profile, your social media stuff, a biography. And then right now it's linked up to the forums. So you can see kind of what the person says, which is similar to like Reddit. But then there's another plugin that I can add to it, which will sort of take some Facebook features, which will give your profile a news feed type of thing. And I thought that might be cool for people to be able to post their recipes in like a consistent spot. So I haven't done that yet, but that's something I'm thinking about doing. So it would have like a feed, and then you could have like just a mixing related feed. And let me see. There's like a member profile page where you can go and see. Leilani signed up already. But you can see the different people, and you can sign up, and you can kind of just but it's very basic type of system. And then if you want to hire the team for e-juice development, feel free. And I just added a bunch of links, and then it's got you know, recent topics, statistics, things like that. You can like our Facebook page if you haven't. And so it's pretty simple. I didn't want to. I looked at like the forums that like Lars and all the flavors run. It's like $100 a month to use that thing, and I was like, well, I don't want to put $100, $1,200 a year into a forum, because this isn't really. This is more just like the bare bones type of content. But it's real simple. You can just reply to stuff. ID10T's got all the details for Mixer Club. And then what he's done is he's split it off into a Discord for like the general conversation. But then this is where he'll run it through here. So that was my weekend project. It was good just to get back into the site and kind of do some work on it.
It looks good, man. It's nice and clean.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be the public front end for Mixers Club now too. I've been talking with Dave. Dave's been really proactive about getting on top of like a potential ban from Reddit. So he wanted to have a solution set up to jump to. So it's going to end up being like the new like published information part of Mix Club, and then all the communication stuff's going to happen on the back end in Discord.
You like that? That's the glamour shot of me is that's from my days when I was running for local political office.
You're right, for what? County commissioner, right?
County commissioner, yeah.
I think I still saved that picture.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. Should find it.
It was fun. I was registered and everything, doing it, pounding the streets, getting like petitions and stuff. It was just, I got to a point where I had to have a certain amount of petitions, and I'd turn in like 1,000, and they'd only count like 100 because people don't know if they're registered to vote. They don't know what like precinct they are. So they'd sign the petition, but they wouldn't be the right voters. So it was like, it was fishing with a lot of bad fish. So time just ran out on me. And if you have money, you can jump that process, but like I didn't have $5,000 or whatever it was that the fee to skip it. But it was fun. It was fun. I probably want to do it again. But, but I wanted to do it. I just wanted to like, it was like a life check box, like check.
Well, I mean, I'd vote for you. I just want to state that right now. Like, if you ever want to run for political office again, I will commit some voter fraud wherever you're living. So, for the record, I will commit a felony for you.
Sweet talking by Concrete River. Yeah, so if you guys like that website, you can head over there and use the features of it and stuff. It's really changed over the years. It's all
nice. Thank you for your $5 donation, Leilani.
See, the thing is, you're only going to get the members without shame. So it's just going to be Dave and I greasing each other up for 12 months. It's going to be. I don't
have any. I just don't want to torture the people, like showing myself topless. It's not pretty.
Oh yeah, like it's a real fucking visual feast to see me without a shirt on, dude.
The orange really kind of made it for me there.
So if you want to hear, like, I went over to ELR because I'm just looking at their forum, and one I got tagged in where it's like 50 comments where they're railing on the Flavor Wiki guy, and I'm like, what? And then the other one's DIY or Die getting just like took to task, like just, and the same thing that happened to me when I first started was like they just went to task. And even in the DIY or Die, someone mentioned me and they're like, that guy, da, 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 da. It's like, there's like no way to please that crowd over there. So if you're going through it and they go after you, there's nothing you can do because there's different castles of people, and that's where they want to be, and that's what they think's best. So like the DIY or die Discord people, that's their place they want to be. ELR people, that's where they want to be. So the idea that when you create something separate, they're gonna hate that because that's not their thing. But like that's not who the forum or the website or anything's made for. All the work that we do for e-juice makers is for people that are our type of people, you know, and we have those people. So that's sort of one of the things is in this industry of the DIY world is, you know, the different crews are gonna never think that your thing's the best because they're not part of that. They're part of their own thing. But it's just, there's like 100 comments on Wayne, like just taking him to task. And I was like, oh, glad it's not me. But even if it was me, it's like, you just have to do your thing, you know, and not worry about what the opinion is, because the opinion oftentimes comes from people that they don't have a YouTube show. They don't have, you know, products. They don't have a website, but they're going to rip you up, but they just don't do what you're doing, you know? So that's the thing is like, people don't always understand, you know, what it's like to do what we're doing. So I don't know. That's my little rant, but it's just crazy to read such negativity, you know, and that's where it was crazy to see the Flavor Wiki guy getting it, because it was like all he's doing is just trying to build a wiki, and they're like, oh, this is a dead project, da 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 da. It's like, who cares? You know, it's like they fight back against things growing, you know, where if it's not Lars doing it on ELR, then it's like an attack. But that's not how any of this works. It's, you know, before ELR existed, Lars was the guy that was creating something out of pocket, you know, that was different. So if you're thinking of creating some website or you got some service you want to add to vaping, like, don't let it bother you. Just keep going. Yeah.
Who's this guy? Tog has knocked his ass twice if he wants to come on the show. I don't see that you have any videos or any information, so I don't see any reason why I would bring you on the show in the first place. No offense, but if you can message us and find some
facial hair.
Maybe. Yeah. You look young. No offense. But also
you must have a beard.
Right. But additionally, like, I mean, if you want to come on the show, you need to show me what you have to offer the show in the first place. We could talk about it, but we don't just, yeah, it's not like a free for all or anything, you know? Right? Yeah.
This is an hour where we shamelessly plug our own products and half-assed answer questions from the chat. So
that's right.
28 one-shots from Chef's Flavors available now.
You beat me to it, Adam. I was about to say it too. I'm super pumped about the community response. So any of you guys from the UK have been watching or are watching right now, thank you very much for all of your support. It has been the biggest community response I've ever seen from a release. It's like huge. Yeah, I still get like 100 notifications a day from it. It's been awesome.
12,000 comments on the giveaway video. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah. And for the record, Lewis was supposed to send me that intro so that we can use it. Just because I want to play it again and again, because it was like the greatest intro ever.
I don't know how to play a video on this.
I don't know. I could figure it out. I think we'd have to do it on OBS or something.
That sounds like something you would have done, Koppel. So we got a question from Sup Vapes. Have you ever made a licorice ice cream?
Yes. Black licorice ice cream. I have.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the only kind of licorice worth a damn. Yes. Yeah,
absolutely. I don't think I ever actually released a recipe, but I use flavor. I don't have wares of licorice, so I don't know if it's any good. But that looks pretty similar to basically what I did without the culotta, though, because I think culotta is trash. No offense, sub vapes, but I can't stand the stuff. It tastes like cardboard to me.
Yeah, I'd switch out the culotta for WS23 if you really want a cooling to work with a cream.
Yeah, because it just gets weird when you get it high enough to make it work. But yeah, that all looks like it's in a pretty good place. I don't know how strong the Inaware licorice is. I use like 3 or 4% flavor West Black licorice, which was plenty strong enough. But yeah, everything else looks fine on their sub vapes. That looks pretty reasonable. I'm for it. I can dig it. Put it out in the wild and see what people think, man.
Molly Moon's up in Seattle actually makes a really good salted black licorice ice cream.
I really hate the lack of availability of salted black licorice in the United States.
I don't.
Hazel says I hear a drop or two of licorice can make strawberries stand out. Yeah, that's true, but it's really the anise in there. You're 17? I'm very sorry, sir, but you are done.
Banned. You've been banned.
Ooh, we're getting brutal. I like it.
I can't support minors doing that.
Oh yeah, no. There's a legal liability thing or something. Also, we don't want to give up our shill time. So
right, exactly.
MixLife 28.
Yeah, so it's actually the anise flavor that's in licorice that helps strawberries stand out, and you can do that with almost any fruit. Anise helps brighten fruits if you use only a little bit. All right, I don't think I can actually stop him from watching, but I can mute him from the chat.
Yeah, no, that the response from the chefs people is absolutely great. So again, shout out. Just saying. Okay, Concrete River. I can't pull a good flavor from Real Flavor Super Concentrate Blue Raspberry, and I have a bunch. Your main problem is that it's Real Flavors. That will do it. Try using it a little bit higher and using a different raspberry underneath it to see if you can kind of salvage it. TPA Sweet Raspberry, if it doesn't feel too ketchupy to you, is a really easily available one that will kind of boost that up a little bit. But I haven't worked a lot with the Real Flavor Super Concentrate stuff. I think I tried like 30 of them and just gave up.
They have some really great flavors, but they just come across as kind of thin most of the time. It's harder to use them, and you usually have to like layer a bunch of stuff under them to give them body. And I can usually just get the same job done with other flavorings without having to do that, right?
Yeah, and I've kind of found like don't be afraid of using a heavy hand with those too. Like their suggested mix percentages. Yes, super light at 5%. So, I mean, maybe try throwing more in and throwing another raspberry at it. But the super concentrate stuff just never mixes the way that I want it to.
You can use, somebody said they received flavor art anise by mistake. You can use it really low to stand up fruits. It goes good in bakeries. It's really, really, really like crazy strong though. So you need to use it like under 0.25% for flavor art anise. I wouldn't go any higher than that because it's really strong and it'll take over your recipe really quickly. Yeah. That's it. Any more questions? Any more good stuff? Did we get a link to the one shots in there? Don't forget we also have one shots at Wizard Labs, and e-cig Express. Most of the team has shots at e-cig Express, so we have flavor packs and Bull City flavors also. Check out those forums when you guys get a chance. I'll try to pay more attention to them. Is there a way to set up email notifications when you get like messages or tags or whatever?
I think so. It's all beta. It emails me when somebody registers. So I think and there's a subscribe button for forum.
I haven't actually registered for the forum. I had the same site login that you gave me like 2 years ago or whatever when we first started it.
Yeah, I saw you changed your profile, so I was like, "Whoa!" So you can.
So I don't think I actually have like a profile thing on there yet. Do I? Maybe.
Yeah, you have one, but it just would have to be like filled out.
Yeah, I haven't messed with it yet. I like messed with it for like 10 minutes. I don't think the WS23 and a little Culotta have a fuller coolness. I think WS23 is more than more than enough to do the job on its own, in my opinion. Some people like to add a little culotta, but like even a small, tiny amount of culotta just tastes like cold cardboard to me. Like I get a definite like cardboard vibe off of it, even when it's used low. Like fresh, it's fine, but then once it steeps for a day or two, all I taste is cardboard, and I can't get around it for anything. So I know that's not the same for everybody. So using culotta works for you, that's great, but I can't. Like it just drives me crazy. I can't deal with it.
So, Copel, you may be better at answering this than I am. So DeMillen's been working on an Apple Jolly Rancher. It's going to be, I mean, I just think it's kind of a hard profile, not specifically because it's complex, but because green apple flavors tend to have an acetone kind of off note. And then when you're looking at hard candy kind of enhancers, they kind of taste like hairspray. How would you tackle that?
Capella's green apple already tastes like a fucking green apple Jolly Rancher by itself. It doesn't even really need anything. Like you could add a really small amount of Flavor West hard candy, but Capella's green apple is really super candied already. It's got like a definite like green apple candy vibe to it. Like I can't taste anything other than that, in my opinion. But Flavor West hard candy does have a strong acetone note, but you can kind of drown it out if you have to kind of use it low. So under 1%, generally speaking, unless it's in a really strong recipe, like a full like 15 to 20% recipe, you could use like 1.5% maybe. But green apple is definitely the closest you're going to get to like the green apple Jolly Rancher by itself.
I've wanted to make Fulvora's sour apple work. Would that work with the Capella green apple?
Yeah, I think it would. Man, I love their sour apple. It doesn't. It's one of my favorite flavors actually, out of the Fulvora line. It's pretty good. Did we compare WS23 and FA Polar Blast? I do like FA Polar Blast better than standard culotta. I'm not sure exactly what's in it. I like WS23 better because it's just more straightforward, but a lot of people really enjoy Polar Blast. So I think Rix, you use more Polar Blast more than me. Adam looks really entertained right now, and I don't know why, and it's frightening me.
Polar Blast is good, but I didn't spend too much time with Polar Blast because right when I switched from culotta to Polar Blast, I got my hands on WS23, and I like how well WS23 works with creams without turning into cardboard. And so a lot of me fucking around with cooling has been trying to put cooling places where traditionally it wouldn't work with culotta. I mean, I'd probably skip the Polar Blast at this point and just go straight to WS23, but I think Polar Blast is a better choice than culotta.
Yeah, absolutely. FA Polar Blast is still definitely better. Was there another delete there? Did I miss some sneaky drama? What's going on in here today, guys?
Excellent.
Somebody was just like shit talking in German, so I had to take the time to see what they're saying.
Oh man,
It's just expletives.
I didn't even get a chance to see if my high school German was going to be enough to read expletives. So thanks for deleting that too early.
It's the same kid's face. It's literally another picture of the dude that wanted to come on the show. He just created a second account and changed his name just to come back in here and get mad.
In German.
Okay, Lord. Well, we're popular now. This is how you know you're popular, right? It's literally the same kid. You didn't even use a different picture.
This has been the high point of my week so far. So thank you very much, Angry German.
We feed off your hate. It makes our mixes better.
We'll probably get reported now, but that's all right. Whatever. Let them come.
Let them come.
Go ahead. Call the cops.
Let's watch a video called 5 Additives and Best Enhancers and Boosters. All right. It's the FDA trying to get us in trouble. That's all right.
Fucking narcs.
We're driving this thing to the wheels.
We're like the tiniest blip that's probably not even noticeable on the FDA radar right now, so I'm not even remotely worried about them.
Well, I mean, unless we start personally insulting Scott Gottlieb, so I think we should start doing that right now.
I think it's pretty all right, man. Don't do that.
I heard that he sleeps in his socks.
Who does that, though?
Psychopaths.
Man, that is bonkers. Sleeps in his socks. You're rude.
I like him. I think he's like pretending to do the flavoring stuff just so the Congress is happy.
Right.
But he's not going to do anything. I think it's all.
I'm not too worried about it, man.
He wants to fuck the
I think what he wants, and he said it in not so many words, is to change the way the industry markets, right? Which I'm all for. I fully support that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, all the stupid kitty labels. Like, there's flavors that everyone would like, and then there's like a gummy bear package that looks like a 7-year-old designed it. Like,
yeah,
what do you want on the cover of this, Timmy? It's like, oh, let's put little jelly bears in color like that, with like Candy King being the biggest, but like that's a marketing thing. When you do marketing, you're like, oh, it's a lazy marketing tactic where you're leveraging off the other brand so that you don't have to do the work in between to sell the product. So you slap on, it's the McDougal's. You're just slapping on the M because people are going to recognize it, but you're not taking the work to build your brand, So it's just lazy first off, and then it's reckless from the standpoint of like not having. They just don't have kids. Like, I guarantee you, they don't have kids. Guys that are making this bullshit are like, I don't care, But when you have kids, you're like, I'm not gonna make some kitty flavor and a kitty label, like. So those guys, I think they're gonna get smacked when it comes to like all the selling of these, startup juice lines that have launched in the last 2 years. I think they're just gonna walk into shops and confiscate like half your shelf. That's more likely.
And I agree with Alaska Vapor that his approach to lowering nicotine in cigarettes is it's a win for us, right? Like, people can't get what they want from cigarettes, and their price isn't balancing out with the potency. I think more people will come here.
Yeah, if it's $20 to get, the equivalent of a $10 bottle of e-juice.
Yeah,
nicotine. Yeah. I agree with that.
I don't know. I'd be more concerned about them regulating everything but nicotine in cigarettes. I think nicotine generally gets a bad name for a culture that is completely dependent on like the idea of like, oh, LOL, I haven't had my morning coffee. Like, while nicotine is completely demonized, caffeine is awesome. This has 334 grams of caffeine. But like, people are worried about the amount of nicotine in cigarettes.
334 grams. What brand is that? Wired from Winco?
Yeah, no, it's the sugar-free Wired X344, so 344 milligrams.
That's so strong. Oh my god! Like,
your heart doesn't beat without that milligram daily.
No, I think I'm not too worried about it. Like, nicotine isn't the devil. It's all that other horrible shit that's in cigarettes and the actual act of combustion that is the problem, in my opinion. Which is why we're on here vaping and talking about nicotine all day.
Yep.
Cool. Well, that hits us about an hour. Any last words, chat?
Whoa. Nope.
The FDA wouldn't focus more on additives than nicotine because the cigarette companies have a lot of money, mostly.
And every state in the country owes them money, right? Because of the way the tax thing worked out, right?
Yeah, the entire tobacco settlement, man, they have no incentive to actually cut smoking rates. It's all just lip service and catchy ad campaigns.
Yeah, more or less.
Well, thank you for joining us, MixLife 51. Join us next week for our year of mixing. It's 52 episodes that we've cranked out, which is crazy. So
we'll piss off some more Germans next week.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to that.
Yep, I'm ready.
Later, everybody.
Fancy. Ready to go.